Shotgun Spratling for USCFootball.com. What a night from New York City. What a night at the Lincoln Center. What a night for USC football. Caleb Williams brings home the 8th Heisman Trophy for the USC Trojans. And he had just a tremendous speech. Had his offensive lineman there, had his coach in tears. What a fantastic performance from Caleb Williams. Once again, we've seen him have fantastic performances all season, it seems like. And once again, he comes through clutch. And it was kind of like a game. I asked him before the ceremony. We got a chance to speak with him. And he said that, I kind of asked him, how's he feeling? He said, even keel. He had gone through his pregame routine. He was treating this just like a game. He said, he took his pregame shower like he normally does before they depart for the stadium. He ate his sour gummies that he has before every game, his sour candy, and he listened to the music they normally listen to before a game. But there was one difference. He worked on his speech a little bit. He went over it one time or two, just in case. He needed that speech, and it was a dynamic speech. It was a speech that he tried to show the future generations of what it takes to become a player like him. The plan that was put together. Chris Trevino put together a tremendous story on how Caleb Williams came to be this Heisman quarterback growing up and what it took for him to come. And Caleb touched on several of those things in his conversation, his speech after the winning the Heisman and being named the 88th Heisman Memorial Trophy winner. And Chris Fowler says it was the 8th USC Trojan. Now the official release from the Heisman Trophy Trust said the 7th Trojan. They're still not counting Reggie Bush. Got to get that fixed. Got to get figured out. Multiple Trojans, the Heisman winners, Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, Mike Garrett, everyone basically said, yes, Reggie needs to get his Heisman back. Caleb Williams was the one guy, when we talked to him beforehand, did not want to touch the subject, being very PC in that regard. But Reggie Bush needs to become the next one to get his Heisman. If they want, then they can just send them together. The Caleb Williams one and the Reggie Bush. Send them both to LA. Those guys both deserve them. Caleb was a fantastic season. And he talked about all the preparation that went to it, the plan for this dream that he had to become a Heisman winner, the work that it took, and the defeats that fueled him over the years. And he talked about each of those defeats throughout, the seasons of his high school career, what it took, what motivated him to come to this point. It was a very touching moment to see his family up there. When they came, actually, they brought Caleb back to where the media room, where the media was being hosted, the media availability, brought him back in. He answered questions. Lincoln Riley answered questions. His 3rd Heisman Trophy winner in 6 seasons as a head coach. What a remarkable feat there as well, and what a recruiting tool to go forth in the transfer portal and going forward for USC as they continue to try to build the program at USC. But Caleb Williams was brought in, his family was brought in, the Heisman Trophy was brought over with his name engraved in it. It was the first time that his parents got to see it. And what a look from Carl Williams seeing the name of his son. You could feel the pride from him just emanating when he saw that, and his mom with a huge smile as well. That was a really cool moment to see. But it's been an eventful day. We got an opportunity, thanks to USC and the Pac-12, to sit down and have breakfast with Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, Caleb Williams, Mike Garrett came by. So 4 Heisman Trophy winners in the same room. Well, it was really powerful, just kind of talking with those guys and talking about some of the things that they've chatted with with Caleb Williams about. Carson Palmer, I got a chance to chat with him for a little while, and just the different things he talked about. I asked him about Caleb Williams. What did he think of him? He said, this guy's unbelievable. He has no weakness. That was one of the quotes from Carson Palmer. He's enamored with the kid, not only for what he does on the field, the amazing throws, the runs, all that, but his leadership, his poise. He just went down strength by strength by strength. It was pretty powerful stuff. Just listen to him talk about Caleb Williams. But it was Carson Palmer's first time back. in 20 years, since his 20 years since he won his first time back. When you play 15 years in the NFL, there's not so much time to come on a Saturday evening before you have a game the next day. But his first time back, it was Matt Leinart's. He said it was his first time back since his 10th anniversary. So first time back in 7 or 8 years there for Matt Leinart. So it was great to see those Trojans come back to the ceremony. And obviously, now 4 Trojans were on the stage when they presented the trophy to Caleb Williams, him and Matt Leinart, Carson Palmer, and Mike Garrett. It was a fun morning to get a chance to spend with them and kind of learn some of the stuff from them and just kind of enjoy seeing them interact. And Carson Palmer, Caleb Williams looked a little tired this morning when he came down for the breakfast brunch that we had, and Carson Palmer told him, you better find a way to get some sleep because the next 48 hours are going to be very tiring for you. So we'll see how Caleb does. He's got a gala tomorrow, a dinner that they have there. He's out on the town probably right now with his offensive linemen. He, during his speech, pointed up to them and had them stand up, and no one's really seen that before. He talked a little bit more about that this morning, and before the ceremony, he talked about how he told a couple of people in the know and said, I'm probably not coming if you don't find a way to get them there. So he made sure that his offensive lineman could be here to enjoy the moment with him, and what a moment it was. And they were all very appreciative. You could tell the smiles in their face, the photos that they've been in, looking fly too. Got to give the offensive lineman credit. Looked really good today. Caleb had his own a custom Gucci Adidas collaboration suit. I asked him, he's kind of picked out his outfits throughout the season or before the season for certain games, he had said. So I asked him, when was this one picked out? Was this one maybe you picked out in June or July and said, hey, if there's a special moment at the end of the season? No, he said on Monday. So he went on Monday and went through a lot of trying on a bunch of different suits and came up with this one. And very uniquely Caleb there, but he looked great, and the speech was fantastic. He handled everything with great class. It was a great representation for the Trojans, for Caleb Williams to win this award, the speech that he gave. And, he answered the questions afterwards, and he's given a recruiting pitch as well at some points. And Lincoln Riley then gets up and speaks, and what a moment for Lincoln Riley and the Riley family. Because not only does he win his 3rd Heisman, that's really cool, but his brother's here, because his brother, Garrett Riley, is the offense coordinator for TCU. So really special moment for the Riley family to be there. And Caleb Williams, I asked him about that, if him and Max Duggan had been trading any Riley stories, basically. And he said, they've noticed that there's sometimes some specific play calls that might be coming from, might be pulled from a different Riley. But there was some back and forth there, and some jokes that were had, and some clips that Caleb sent to Garrett Riley saying, this play looks really familiar, but all having a great time. They got a chance to get a group photo together. That's really cool for the Riley family once again. But Lincoln has been all over the place this week. I actually ran into him on the way into the building, and I could tell that he was feeling it. He told me he didn't know what time zone, his body didn't know what time zone it was in, probably because he's been all over the country recruiting. USC's had some official visits, so he's back in LA yesterday to come out to New York. But a special moment. He said he'll stay through the gala tomorrow if Caleb were to win, and of course he does, and becomes Lincoln Riley's 3rd quarterback to win in 6 seasons. I don't know what more of a recruiting pitch you could want for any elite quarterback there. But a fantastic day for the Trojans to get the 8th Heisman. Is a big recruiting tool going forward. And the crazy part is, Caleb can do that recruiting too, because he is going to be back next season. It would not be a surprise to see him back here on the stage next year in December. Now, whether he wins it and becomes only the 2nd one ever, that's now the next goal for him. That's the next individual goal. If they reach the goal that he really is wanting, the national championship, which is something he talked about, and you could tell, one of the things that he said, and one of the best quips that he had was to his fellow finalists. They bonded a little bit during this weekend. He was excited to share the stage with them. but they were going to get to go play in the college football playoff. So, you don't get everything you want, basically, is what he was saying. So he's keeping that goal in mind, and that tells you where his mind is going forward. He's already talking about the Tulane game, wants to get back from that, back for that game, and we'll see how the hamstring is. But he'll be recruiting some players in the transfer portal. He'll be recruiting some of those freshmen coming in as well, because he wants pieces around him to go try to win a national championship. We'll see if the Trojans can do that next year, but this year has been fantastic. Still one game to go, but 11-2. What a ridiculous turnaround from the 4-8 season that they had last year. And the culmination, even though it's not the very last thing, it's the penultimate thing, is this coronation of Caleb Williams in the Heisman Trophy fraternity now, with 7 other Trojans. Give Reggie back his Heisman. That's going to wrap it up here from the Marriott Marquis in Times Square in New York City. Caleb Williams is your Heisman Trophy winner for 2022. Stay tuned to USCFootball.com for tons of content, including the next wave of recruits that USC will be trying to get, the transfer portal additions, what happened on those official visits over the weekend, all that information and more at USCFootball.com.